we're so vulnerable. So first we should get into what you do, because you have a very interesting theory. Tell everybody what your background is, first of all.
My background is in anthropology, biological anthropology. My research mostly focuses on evolutionary anatomy, biomedicine. But the reason I'm here, I assume, because according to my friend Matt, we were butchering a mule deer. It's like nobody gives a shit about what you do other than UFOs, man. But no, the main thing is that I've become known for advocating for this idea that UFOs and the aliens are actually our time-traveling future human descendants. I do think there's a lot going on. But my background, and the reason I approach this question this way is because there's a lot of characteristics of these aliens that look so hominin. They look just like us. And specifically what we'd expect to see in our hominin future if the same evolutionary trends continue into the future. So I kind of just tie those things together. And even the saucer-shaped craft seemingly are time machines themselves.
Well, it's a theory that a lot of people have independently sort of come to. The concept of, if you just think about ancient man. I was watching this documentary on Neanderthals last night about this one intact Neanderthal skeleton that they found it had sort of been... he had died in a cave, and there's stalagmites. Is stalactites or mites? How do you say it?
Tights are up.
But it was immensely strong, like much stronger than us. One of the interesting things was that their visual cortex, the part of the brain that would process imagery, was larger than ours, 10 to 20% larger.
Yeah.
And that so these things probably had better eyesight than us, perhaps even were able to see at night. And that this was a bigger, stronger version of a human being, like much more durable than what we are, modern 2025 Homo sapiens.
There's an offshoot in our hominin lineage called the Paranthropus, or robust Australopithecines, and they had a full-on, like, gorilla-style sagittal ridge. But there is evidence from Shanidar Cave in Iraq where they were using their teeth as tools. We think they were like tannin hides. They were holding the hide in their mouth and then like scraping all the nasty bits. So yeah, they were pretty badass. They were the first to use the flake. Like for 2.8 million years, we just hit a piece of rock and like, oh, this is a cool tool. But then they figured out that if you hit the rock in just the right way, the piece that falls off makes an even better tool. And we found these, actually it's pretty funny because when we first got there, these tools called MTA hand axes, Musteri, and it was Schulian tradition hand axes. We went on to find 7 more over the course of that week. We doubled the number of these things in existence.
Wow. Yeah. And we're the most feeble versions of people that have existed within the last century, right? Like if you go back to humans from the 1920s versus humans from the 2020s, people have way less testosterone now, way higher instances of miscarriages, way lower sperm count. There's a lot of factors that are at play right now that are changing what a human is. And if you extrapolate, if you look at the future, you would naturally say, well, we're probably going to be very thin. It seems like there's at least some sort of a push to eliminate gender. Like gender seems like it's on the table as whether or not it's even necessary. There's all sorts of new technological innovations that are leading to the possibility, at least sometime in the future, of an artificial womb. Mm-hmm. There's genetic engineering with CRISPR and a lot of other different technologies that are being explored that we might be able to engineer human beings and then even create a complete individual human being without a mother, without a father. So if you thought about what that looks like in the future, like one of our problems on this planet is we all have different ideologies, different religions, come from different parts of the world. We look different. And human beings as tribal primates have a tendency to other. We other different tribes. Those are not us. We are us. But if everybody's exactly the same and we share one mind, then a lot of our problems go away. Yeah. If we no longer have to compete for resources, we no longer have the desire to procreate and to acquire land and to be, to have a territory, we eliminate a lot of our issues. And that's what these things look like. When you look at the archetypal, these iconic sort of shapes that have been on cave walls all the way up to Close Encounters of the Third Kind. One thing they share is that they have no muscle, they have large heads, they have big eyes.
And they're childlike. They're very paedomorphic, as we say. Yeah, you just tied together like a lot of really important points related to this theory. Aspects of why they're always interested in our gametes, why they come back and put that little machine on a man to collect semen, why they're constantly taking eggs from females and implanting fetuses, pulling them back out later. Like, they're clearly focused on reproduction, gamete extraction, and one of the things that might be fueling that in the future, if these are future humans, let's just assume for a second, hypothetically, is that they might be having problems directly resulting from these trends toward self-domestication, these trends toward feminization, these trends toward reduced sperm counts, which is 60% across most populations of the world, in the industrialized world, 50% across the entire world. Problems with reproduction, in vitro fertilization, exogenesis chambers might help solve some of those problems, growing the fetus outside of the body. So yeah, and like you said, what do they look like? They look like kind of a hybrid between males and females to some extent, but there's still an essence of gender. Like, if you talk to Whitley Strieber, he's with this being, he says in Communion that I had a sense that she was a woman. So it's almost like the essence of the individual, the soul of the individual still retains that sort of gender identity, even though our bodies are becoming more childlike, more gender indiscriminate.
Now, when you say they are extracting sperm, like, how many of these stories do you take seriously? There's unfortunately, for any sort of spectacular public thing that's in the zeitgeist, like alien abduction, whether it's Whitley Strieber from Communion or the John Mack books, the guy from Harvard that wrote, what was it, Abduction?
Passport to the Cosmos and Abduction,
Yeah, but these are all books about encounters, close encounters of the third kind with some sort of a being from another place. Whatever it is, it's just not a human being, as they seem to be able to communicate telekinetically or telepathically.
Yeah, and I mean, they aren't human, but they're very human too. So for instance, like that's one of the main reasons I started exploring this. I was actually kind of put into this when I was 8 or 9 years old, sort of activated in a way and put on this path by a weird thing that happened to me when I was a kid.
What happened to you?
Well, so I talk about it in my first 2 books, Identified Flying Objects and the Extraterrestrial Model, where I learned about a close encounter that my dad had. It's also strange on his scale because they crested the hill, there's a bright light. This is an Amish country. And all of a sudden, this bright light darts toward them, hovers just above their truck, darts back to where it was, and straight up into space, like at incredible speed. So this happened before I was born, but I overheard him telling the story to some friends one night. He got Whitley Strieber's book Communion, as most people did in the 1980s, and as they should, because it's a great book. The book is sitting on the shelf facing out. And I remember, like it was yesterday, I sort of stopped, and there was like this light, like a white light. And then I saw this image in my mind of like an early hominin, chimpanzee-like creature, a modern human, and then that archetypal gray alien from the cover with this information. What if they're related? What if they are us from the future? And obviously, I mean, that's why I became a biological anthropologist. People are always like,
so you saw this?
Yeah, it was like a flash, like a light. And, it's weird looking back on it because I know a lot more about these experiences. I've talked to people that have had these types of experiences.
What was the setting?
It was our living room right there. I just turned the corner, saw it, and then like just kind of, it just came. Like, I didn't know shit about evolutionary biology.
When
I
you
didn't
say
know
you
about
saw
UFOs.
it, you saw it how?
In my mind. Just this white light.
Just an image.
And there was that image of the 3 faces. And then the question, could they be us from the future? And a lot of people are like, how'd you get into UFOs? Like, you're a biological anthropologist. It's the opposite. I got into biological anthropology to research this question of whether they could be us from the future.
So this, you felt like at that moment it wasn't just like a weird thought or a dream. It felt like a message. Like, what did it feel like?
Yeah. It was a tasking. You know, I think Rupert Sheldrake said it that people don't have ideas have people. I think that was like hey, go do this thing, and I did. That's why we're here now talking about it. And obviously, you know, you got to be careful about like selection bias and confirmation bias. But I went into it with an open mind, but I was there to study these things because of that event when I was 8 years old.
Wow. It is a problem, the confirmation bias. It is a problem with wanting it to be real. And I struggle with that because I desperately want it to be real.